Welcome to School Zone. I have with me Annabella Becknell and Caroline Mangrum from Okaloosa STEM Academy, and we are going to discuss a little bit about what goes on at STEM Academy. So STEM Academy is a middle school, 6th through 8th grade, and we are focused on the science, technology, engineering, math, and medical. So to discuss a little bit, let's start out with electives, because that's always a good place to start. So we have a lot of different electives at STEM. So Caroline, I know you are 8th grade and you have taken quite a few electives. Tell me a little bit about some of the electives.
So in 7th grade, there's Research 2, which is biomedical, and that's a lot of fun. You basically go through the forensic process of learning how to do certain investigation types and processes. And then in the second quarter, you get more into types of crimes and how to investigate and classify them. And I know you're taking them this year, so what have you gotten to so far?
So this year we've gotten to do lung bags. Basically, Miss Robinson has a huge tube. You blow into it and it's a lab. You discover your partner's maximum capacity of air in each of your lungs. We've also gotten to mental disorders, physical disorders, and bacterial and fungal presentations.
So that's a 7th grade elective. Mm-hmm. So your 7th grade and your 8th grade, both of you have taken the 6th grade elective, which is research and aviation. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about the research one. I know it includes science fair in the first semester, which Annabella, you have been to the state science fair even. And then the second one had to do with aviation. And from year to year it changes, so what you did in aviation may not have quite been the same. So we'll touch on both of those. So start with research 1, with first semester being science fair.
So they start you off by explaining exactly what science fair is and what you have to do. They give you a helpful little booklet and they walk you through the process of creating your hypothesis, finding your thesis, your question, all of that. They help you with your paperwork, your planning, and it basically just walks you through how to do science fair for your first year. And I mean, that was very helpful for me because I've never done it before, at least the way STEM does it. So I know it was probably different for you. So how was that?
It was really helpful. Every day when you would go in there, you always got one-on-one conversations with your teacher about questions you had or activities you were doing. We got to also help our peers in everything we did. Also, whenever it was the aviation part of the semester, we got to build and design our own rockets. We got to launch them in the field, and whoever got closest to the bullseye could go to an actual competition in the city. That was a lot of fun. Everyone just had so much fun with it.
Yeah, you also did hot air balloons, where you did the tissue paper, and you did indoor launching.
Yes.
They have an outdoor launching. You did not get to the outdoor launching on that one.
So the parachute, you would build and create one with a group you were assigned within the class. They had these basically blow dryers, huge ones, and you would set the air balloon on it and it would blow up and you would see how tall and how high your balloon could go. It was a lot of fun. And we also got to do water rockets. Mm-hmm. You would take a Coke, a root beer, a Sprite, a Fanta, any 2-liter jug, and you would build a rocket out of it. And you would see how high it could go with the pressure built up in the rocket. That was a lot of fun.
So it's more than just building the rockets and everything else.
Yes.
You also had to add in that scientific element of data collection.
Right.
Yeah.
You had to see how high it went, see how much air you could get into it, and you also had to make them. You had the engineering aspect as well. So Annabella, you said you didn't do the outside ones, but when I was in 6th grade, I had Miss Robinson. So we didn't get to do the bottle rockets, but we did get to do the outside data collection for the hot air balloons. So it was basically the same as the inside, but this one came with more trouble. when you would blow the rocket up, it would fly into the roof or into trees, and it would go so high you couldn't measure it. One of them actually went across the fence. I think that was a lot of fun, and it gave you more experience in building and engineering the way you would have to do at STEM.
So that throws a little bit of the engineering into just the basic research class with aviation.
Right.
Now, getting into a little bit of the science fair related, everybody is required to do a science fair project from 6th grade to 8th grade. It is a requirement at STEM. And I know the teachers push really hard to make sure that your topics are high school level, because you're taking high school level courses for the most part. So have you ever gotten to regionals, or have you stopped basically at the school level?
I've stopped at the school level. Personally, science fair isn't one of my main interests. I have more trouble with math, and so I focus more on that during the year.
Okay. But you have gone on from the school fair to the regional and even all the way to state.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your experience and how research helped you in that.
Research really helped me getting up to those stages, because whenever I had questions about my science fair, they would say, in order to get to regionals or state, because that was my main goal, they said you could advance all your stuff inside your research plan, your background research, your procedures, anything to make it more advanced and make it more harder, which is competition in regionals and state, which would lead you there. And that's how I got there.
Okay. So focusing on, a little bit about that, you are also taking an elective this time with Mr. Jernigan, and he is involved with the robotics, and this year is the .NET. So you are doing tell us a little bit about that.
So when I was in 6th grade, I did ICT 1, and it's basically where you learn the basics of coding. C++, which is basically just a toned down version of Java, and then you would learn how to use that and how to program robotic elements. And so we would also use robots to do competitions with balloons and mobile units. And then ICT 2, I think it's actually ICT 3 this year since we have .NET, but ICT 2, you worked more on the element of science. You would learn the specifics, the terms, the language, all that kind of stuff, all to build you up to .NET. So .NET is the Java coding class where you learn how to code and create projects using Java, which is the universal language of coding. So right now we're learning methods, double strings, those kind of things, and we're just learning how to make little programs for games or number guessings or something like that. It's the basics. He said later on this year we're going to learn how to program life-sized robots and how to hack. So,
don't know about that one. And Annabella, you are taking the technical theater class. So in technical theater, your main focus is Odyssey of the Mind,
Yes, ma'am.
which is also a problem-solving type competition.
Yes.
So explain a little bit about what you're doing in technical theater.
So right now, everyone got to choose if they wanted to be in competition or non-competition. You also got to choose which Odyssey problem you wanted to participate in. There's 5 this year. I am in one of the 5, number 3. Ours is classics, literature, and music. And also in Odyssey, you get your own group. You get to create all this awesome props and backgrounds for your special group, and then you get to compete with other teams around this, like the district or the city or the state or nationals. It's really a good time to communicate with your peers. During your project, you get to create your own script, all your own costumes and designs just with your group, and it's a really fun learning activity.
So it's problem solving with the creative element.
Yes.
So that is Odyssey of the Mind, but we do that under the technical theater.
Yes.
So STEM has a lot more than just the electives we have talked about. They have the creative writing, we have the speech and debate, the academic teams. We do have a lot of tutoring after school as well that a lot of students take part in. We also have a very active PTO. And with that PTO, one of the most recent things we had was the Star Wars dance. So y'all tell me a little bit about the Star Wars dance and these extracurricular things.
It was actually the Comic-Con dance.
Oh,
but
sorry.
That's okay. So my dad's the DJ, and so basically he's there for free, and he helps them as part of the PTO make the dances, decide the theme, and help set up. And so it's really fun and a good way to kind of de-stress after all the hectic stuff we do at STEM. It helps a lot.
You get to dance, there's so much food and drinks, and you just hang out with all your friends. It's a really fun social time. You get to talk to everyone, and really, even though you're at school, you don't really think about school, you think about how much fun you're having, and you get to do all this awesome stuff there.
So we go beyond the academics
Yes.
and beyond the elective, which are still academic, and start getting into a little bit more of that social element of just because you're at STEM doesn't mean that you can't have fun and that we don't have other activities that you can do. Leading into that, we start talking about sports. We don't offer sports at STEM Academy, but you have the ability to participate in sports at your zone school or also Lewis, because Lewis is a small school. They willingly take our students. So tell me a little bit about the sports, and even if you're not part of it, what you've heard.
So personally, I'm not part of it, but I do a ballet program at NFB Ballet Academy. And I know a lot of people in our grade, 8th grade, do soccer or tennis or other sports. And so they're allowed to do sports outside of school and compete and do training programs outside of our school because we don't personally have one. But I've heard that it's a lot of fun. And it's just a good opportunity to be able to do extra credit or extracurricular activities without actually having to do stuff at STEM.
I will be starting tennis at Destin Middle, and whenever I get off the bus, I'm getting dropped off in the parking lot. So I just freely walk into the school, and I do my homework in their library. They're very nice. They tell you where everything is, like at the bathroom if you need it, and if you have any questions or need to call your parents, you're openly welcome to. So then after their school is done, you go and just go to your team there.
And participate with the team.
Yeah.
So these other schools, even though it's not STEM, they have welcomed the
Yes.
potential of having somebody else to play a sport with them. We have had students play golf, basketball, volleyball, football, tennis. So we have a very wide variety, and the schools have all been pretty much willing to work with our students. So kind of going from there and thinking about the improvements that have happened, over the years and how we've incorporated new electives. What is your overall impression with STEM at this point?
I think it was a lot more round, even in the 3 years that I've been here. Usually when I came, the electives were just more technical things like math or research. But now you've got creative writing and digital art and design. For those people who aren't so mathematic or technical, they have the freedom to express themselves in the way that they see fit. And so I feel like it lets you be who you are.
They have the academic ability with the math and the science,
Right.
but it may not be their favorite thing.
Right, so they also have the option
have
to
another
take
outlet.
somebody out.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really drawn a lot of kids to STEM because like, oh, so it isn't just math and science. I can also do the other things that please me and that excite me and all that. So I think it's drawn a lot of kids here because they're like, you know what? School is school. There's some fun stuff here. It's not just all this science and technical stuff. It's really stuff that is me and what I want to do.
What you want to do. Well, I thank you for being here today. So from School Zone and Okaloosa Academy, we will be right back. Welcome back to School Zone. We are with Okaloosa STEM Academy, and I have Caroline and Michael with me. We are going to talk a little bit more about what goes on at Okaloosa STEM Academy. One of the things that is unique to Okaloosa STEM Academy is we are not on a period schedule. We are on a block scheduling. So Caroline, tell me a little bit about the block scheduling.
So the block scheduling at our school, we have A days and B days. We have a total of 6 periods, and on our A days, we have first period, third, and fifth. And on our B days, we have second, fourth, and sixth. And that gives a lot of time for you to do your homework. We have an hour and 40-minute classes, so that also, helps the students retain their information and try to get in depth in the lessons. So that's really nice.
So what do you think about the block scheduling as well?
I think it's major preparation for college because they do that in colleges. And also it gives teachers more time to plan stuff in their planning periods, and it makes us absorb more information into our noggins.
Okay. So we are looking at the 103-minute, you said an hour and 40-minute blocks, especially in math. It allows you to get started on math, work some math problems, and get assistance as well. It works with the science labs where you can cover a little bit of an introduction, perform the lab, and then do a follow-up. So that has been beneficial. You
Yes.
like that block schedule. It's very different,
It is.
but it has been a good thing, it's good to hear. Going from there, we will talk a little bit about the after-school activities and field trips, but we're going to go into first a little bit of more of the clubs that we have. So Michael, I know you are part of academic team and you are part of speech and debate. So tell us a little bit about speech and debate and academic team.
You may have heard of Jeopardy. It's similar. Jeopardy is where you have to answer questions and you get certain points. This is all individual points. You can be pretty useful if you go to STEM because STEM is one of the top rated schools in the county, and our academic team is pretty good.
Okay, and you're a member of speech and debate as well.
Speech and debate is on the debate side, there's many things you can do. You can write bills for a Congress, or you can see which scenario is better, should parents microchip their children? I was given that as a debate topic a while ago. I'm currently in Student Congress, which is on the debate side.
Okay. So other than these clubs that we have talked about, I know that we covered with the other group of students, we talked about the robotics teams and that type of information with them. There are other outside activities as well. STEM Academy does not offer sports teams, but these students that are at STEM Academy have the ability to participate in their zone school, or Lewis, since it's a smaller school, they really encourage us. We bus them over there in the afternoons as well. You are part of the soccer team at Lewis.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how that works.
So after school, I usually go to the youth center on Eglin Air Force Base, and we make a stop at Lewis. It's really nice having people that go to STEM on a team with me. A lot of my friends that I know play basketball or soccer at Lewis or for their cross-country teams. We may not have teams, but we do supply a lot of their team members sometimes. So that's really nice to have that camaraderie within the team.
So we do have a lot of students that play everything
Yeah.
from, and they could be at their zone school, not necessarily Lewis. They play football, soccer, basketball. I know we have a few that are playing volleyball. We have someone that is on an archery team.
Oh, wow.
We have, and all of that is available. It's just the transportation issues.
Yes.
Because we do only have three hubs for the most part. So we pick up at Destin Blue Water, we pick up at Crestview, and we pick up in Fort Walton. But we do provide that afternoon bus for the sports to Lewis to make it a little bit easier for students to participate in sports if they wish. Other than that, getting a little bit more on other outside activities, I know that right now there is a huge Boston trip planned.
Yes.
That is part of a STEM learning. So the two of you are both planning on going on this trip. So tell us what you have learned about this and what the plans are on this trip.
I've never been to Boston before, so I'd always like to see that, and I'm planning on going to MIT when I grow up. So Miss should give me a preview what the campus is like, what everything is like, what we get to do there. We see the music lab, science lab, forensics.
So you'll be in Boston for an entire week. So he's talked about MIT. Do you know what else is on the agenda for this trip?
Well, besides MIT, I know there's a lot of like engineering aspects that we will be visiting and learning about. He mentioned the music lab. Personally, very excited about that. This is just an overall great opportunity for students because we get to see what the college of some of our like dreams is like and what we're going to be able to do and to experience there. So I'm very excited.
It gives you a little bit more of a goal. So I know, Michael, you're interested in agricultural engineering.
Architectural.
Architectural, okay. So is that what you're planning on doing when you say MIT? Is that what you like?
Yes.
What about you, Caroline? What is your goal, career goal?
Career goal? For one, I like microbiology. I could be a microbiologist.
She's got my heart on that one.
or an astronaut.
An astronaut.
Yes.
So also going the astronaut route.
Yes.
Just don't get any taller.
No.
Because there is a height limit, I think, on astronauts.
Gotta keep it.
So we've got the Boston trip. We have that. I know Friday is a dance.
Yes.
So are both of y'all planning on going to the dance on Friday?
I think so.
You think so?
I'm gonna go to every single
Yes.
dance because the dances are downright epic.
That is true. I second.
So you second that. You
Yes,
both like
I
that. Tell me a little bit more about the school itself. So I know we've got the 12 teachers. We have the basic social studies, mathematics, science, and medical,
Yes.
which is what the second M in STEM stands for. But we are a public school, so it doesn't cost anything to go to our school, but we do have uniforms.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the uniforms. Are you okay with that? Do you like the uniforms?
So I do like the uniforms. It makes it way easier in the morning instead of like flipping through my closet and being like, oh, what should I wear today? You know, I have khakis or navy pants or red shirt, blue shirt. But on Fridays we do have free dress. I mean, there's some dress codes, but that's expected.
But you have some flexibility.
Yeah, some flexibility. So we don't always wear the uniform. It's a choice on Fridays, but I do like it. So it's
A lot of students still wear the uniform on
Fridays, yes.
And I have heard the students who've gone on to the high school that they miss the uniforms.
Really?
And one of the thing is something that Michael has mentioned. It's what about the uniforms that you like?
Well, I like that it's easy to know what to pick out in the morning, and you'll get judged by what you wear. Because it's actually a true story. One time in elementary school, I was considered small because I was wearing a kind of small shirt.
Okay. So now you don't have a label.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pretty much wears the red or the blue. On Fridays you can pick and choose a little bit more, but the high school students that I have talked to miss the fact that they don't have to think about what they wear.
I don't blame them.
Yeah. I like that.
So it is really nice to do. So we've talked about after school. We've talked a little bit about the dance. We've talked about MIT and the Boston STEM trip. We've talked about some of the clubs, but we also offer tutoring in the afternoons. And I know that a lot of students take up on this tutoring. Tutoring is every day except for Mondays.
Yes.
And it just depends on which teacher stays which days and what subjects are covered. But with all the subjects we have, we pretty much have tutoring every day if you need it. Michael, you take place in a little bit of this tutoring, you said, with Miss Matheson's class.
Yes, even though I have a pretty high grade in her class right now, it's still very useful because she gives us the time to work on our homework, and if we have any questions, she's right there to ask us.
So at least she's there. So it's not a tutoring where she gets up and teaches. It is an individual, you work on things, what do you need help with?
Yes.
So what else can you tell us about the STEM Academy that makes it unique?
Well, I'm not really used to this, but it's an exterior campus.
Okay.
So on spring days, you don't have to worry about it being having the air conditioner set at 68 degrees. It's in Florida. It's always very nice, except for a few days in the winter. But I like the fact that it has some character. What it used to be. It used to be an elementary school.
It was Valpy Elementary, and I went to elementary school there. So,
Oh, wow.
so it has been around quite a while.
And now you're working there.
And we are an open campus is what I think they call it. But we do have an SRO that keeps track of what's going on. You have your 30-minute lunches. You have your 30-minute advisory. That is your homeroom. So we talked a little bit with the other group about field day and picking out your shirts and what you do a little bit with that. What have you done in the past years during advisory time?
In the past years, in 7th grade, I had Miss Robinson's advisory. We would work on our homework. If it was nice out, she would sit by the door and we would go outside and play. We would buy the baseball field, or we'd watch movies if everyone had high grades and we all had our work done. It was just like a nice time to be in advisory. It was a little break from the day before you had lunch.
Right. Neither one of y'all are taking the Engineering 3 elective, are you?
No.
I know I'm not, but I would have taken it, but you have to go through biomed first in order to go on.
When we talk about that engineering, it's civil engineering, engineering principles, 3D design and printing. They also do the bridge building and the earthquake towers. So we do have a lot of other elements that have not been touched upon. Creative writing, there are a lot of other electives and classes you have the ability to take. So we appreciate you for joining us for School Zone. You have a great day.